Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. We are now over 2 decades into this scandal, with the victims still suffering the ongoing consequences of this injustice. Unjust prison sentences, bankruptcy, ostracisation from communities, family breakdown, and homelessness. And tragically for some, as we've heard, this scandal has led to them taking their lives. As of the 10th of August 2023, according to the Post Office Horizon IT inquiry, at least 60 sub-postmasters have died without seeing justice or receiving compensation, and at least 4 took their own lives. All our thoughts continue to be with their families. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this scandal has been a seismic tragedy at every stage. The mental toll and stress victims have faced is beyond what many of us can begin to comprehend. This scandal has been defined at every turn by abuse of power, disregard for sub-postmasters' lives, the passing of blame, and perpetual delay. This bill is an important step forward in addressing the greatest miscarriages of justice in our country. It will mean hundreds of innocent victims will have their rightful innocence returned to them. However, this is one of a number of actions that need to be taken to make amends to correct this terrible injustice. It means we need to see convictions quashed, compensation delivered urgently, and justice sought from the independent inquiry. I want to pay, along with other colleagues, tribute to Alan Bates and the many sub-postmasters who have campaigned and worked tirelessly to seek justice. This bill marks an important victory for sub-postmasters, and I pay tribute to the bravery and perseverance in the face of so much suffering and adversity. They have had to take on so much, have had so much taken from them, and yet they've kept fighting. And this is truly remarkable. And it's wonderful to hear the tributes that have been paid by so many across the House, but also across our country. I want to pay tribute to my honourable friend, the member for North Durham, for all his work fighting on behalf of sub-postmasters, and Lord Arbuthnot for his years of work in tackling this injustice. I also want to thank the Minister for Postal Affairs for all his work, both from the backbench as well as from the front bench. There have been many members across the 2 houses, who have highlighted the injustice suffered by sub-postmasters, and I want to extend our appreciation from this side of the House for the work that they have all done and the cross-party nature of the campaigning that has gone on thus far. I think we can all agree that the influence, as has been said before, of the ITV drama Mr. Bates versus the Post Office has been very significant in this campaign. And while the Minister has done a huge amount of work, there's no denying that that programme has brought to the attention of the wider public the scandal that has affected so many sub-postmasters. But Madam Deputy Speaker, it should not have taken the release of this drama to get to where we are today. And this is not in no way a criticism, it's a recognition of the fact that certain scandals have needed that wider attention from the media, from the contribution from programmes like this one before and documentaries before attention is received. But we are where we are, and it's encouraging to see the steps that have been taken. This bill will quash the convictions of the sub-postmasters and others who worked in the post office branches who suffered as a result of the Horizon scandal. As has already been said, and I would like to further stress, the quashing of these convictions does not set a precedent, must not set a precedent. This bill undermines a key part of our democracy, which is the separation of the legislature and the judiciary. As has been said earlier in the debate, it is a constitutional anomaly. We must, as has been recognised, understand the weight of this so that such action is never considered again. The legal solution of this bill is a wholly exceptional and isolated case where these necessary actions will be taken to match an unprecedented miscarriage of justice in both scale and impact. And as my honourable friend, the Shadow Business Secretary, has made clear, an incoming Labour government would never use this kind of action again. I would also like to echo the comments on the territorial scope of today's bill and restate that the Labour Party supports the calls to extend the provisions of this bill to the cases in Northern Ireland. Every party in Northern Ireland, as has been stated in this debate, and every minister in the new Assembly is calling for their inclusion in the bill. Their exclusion will sadly only delay exoneration of victims in Northern Ireland all the more. So I hope the Minister will seriously consider this decision and what can be done further, and take on board the points that have been made by honourable members, as well as my honourable friend, the Shadow Business Secretary. Madam Deputy Speaker, we've heard a lot of very powerful contributions today in the debates, and the broad agreement for the need for, the necessity for this bill. The Right Honourable Member for Halton, Price and Howden highlighted his misgivings about this bill and described it as representing the best of a bad situation, although, of course, extending his support. And he highlighted the unprecedented nature of it. My right honourable friend, the member for Birmingham Hodge Hill, made the case for speed in settling the granting of compensation. My right honourable friend, the member for North Durham, raised important concerns about the potential limitations of setting deadlines for the government on paying compensation. I hope the government, on paying compensation while ensuring that there is proper handling of complex cases, will take those points into consideration. He also raised important points about the need for the judiciary to learn lessons and for the government to learn lessons from this scandal, so that we can ensure that there are broader lessons that can be applied where other scandals are concerned. Throughout the debate, a number of other scandals have been mentioned: the contaminated blood scandal, the Windrush scandal, and others. And it's encouraging to see that there is a real eagerness to reflect and learn, so that we do not have a situation where things have to come this far before these matters are addressed. The member for Motherwell and Wishaw, who's been a tireless advocate and campaigner for justice for sub-postmasters, has rightly highlighted the need to continue a laser-sharp focus on supporting victims. And she relayed once again, along with others, in her party, about the concerns of Scotland being left out of the bill. An extensive debate that has been taken place between different members. The Honourable Member for Sutton and Cheam, the former Minister, spoke powerfully about his time as the Postal Affairs Minister. And as he's standing down, I want to commend him for his work in his capacity as Minister responsible and the work he did during his time in the department, but also his wider work working across parties on a number of issues, including in relation to Myanmar with me and many other colleagues. And we wish him well in his future endeavours when he leaves the House. He raised the need for learning the lessons, as others have, and ensuring that when we say this must never happen again in relation to scandals of the scale of what we've seen and others, that we truly can say and make sure it doesn't happen again. The Honourable Member for Norfolk spoke powerfully about his own career as a former sub-postmaster and the insights he brought to this debate and the campaigning, and reflected on the trauma that his constituent face and the way in which he has got involved in supporting his constituent and drawing those lessons into the work that has been carried out but with the department, with the minister. What struck me was the way in which he reflected on the wider issues to do with the post office. The post office culture, which needs work in terms of tackling the wider issues, systemic issues. The term he used was losing its soul. I hope that as we look to the future, the government will look at how we make the necessary reforms so that it is fit for purpose. He raised rightly the point about Fujitsu and the need for holding them accountable, including compensation. While this is outside the scope of this bill, the important work that the Minister and others need to do to make sure that they pay for what was caused by their technology failures. Madam Deputy Speaker, the Honourable Member for East Antrim made the powerful case for, once again, those whose appeals have been rejected and argued that these cases need to be looked at again. And I know that the Minister has responded earlier on and will look at these issues closely. He also made the point about territorial scope and reinforced the need for Northern Ireland to be included in the case, in the bill. And in particular, the point that's been made consistently about the 12-week consultation, which means that Northern Irish cases, the 27 or 30 cases of those who are affected, will face huge delays. And that means further suffering. And therefore, it's important for the government to consider including, as we have called for as well, including Northern Ireland. The Right Honourable Member for Orkney and Shetland made the case for the Scottish Government introducing legislation in parallel in Scotland. Much work has been done in Scotland and the case for needing to work in parallel in lockstep to make sure that there are provisions in Scotland. The Honourable Member for North Down spoke about prosecutions that should never have taken place, and once again made the case for Northern Ireland being included and the need for avoiding delay. Madam Deputy Speaker, we've heard many powerful testimonies of victims who said they lost decades of their lives to this scandal. Katie Downey, who set up the group Lost Chances for the Children of Sub-Postmasters, a group to support the children of some of the victims of the scandal, said that when her father was made bankrupt from the scandal, she was 11 years old and her family had to flee to France. Ms. Downey stopped speaking for 2 years as a result of the trauma. Her childhood was shaped by this injustice. We must not forget the wide-reaching impact of this scandal on family members. There are children, spouses, parents, close friends and neighbours who have not only journeyed with the victims but suffered themselves and lived out the unjust consequences of this injustice. Seema Misra was jailed on her son's 10th birthday while she was pregnant after being pronounced guilty of stealing £74,000 from the post office she ran, wrongly accused. Ms. Misra and her husband had been trying for a baby for 8 years, and what should have been one of the happiest moments of their lives became a nightmare. She was put under suicide watch in prison and describes herself as reaching complete rock bottom. These are only two stories of the horrors that have defined the lives of victims. So today I want to thank colleagues across the House for powerfully sharing the examples of the cases they have dealt with, be they constituents or those that they've come across through their campaigning work, and for the tireless work they have done in advocating for them and telling their stories and talking to ministers and persisting. Their stories and voices must be central in shaping our next steps and the pursuit of their compensation, the pursuit of justice and exoneration. So today we welcome this crucial piece of legislation, but this is by no means anywhere close to an end point, but merely a further step in the right direction for securing justice for sub-postmasters. We support the work of the independent inquiry in uncovering the full and precise truth of all that has unfolded in the Post Office. Truth and justice has been denied to sub-postmasters at every turn, and I hope this inquiry will finally provide the transparency that is desperately needed. There is much still to be done in the pursuit of justice for sub-postmasters, and we must all continue to support them and do all we can to right the many wrongs they have suffered.